this point, I'm currently at 6.15 million, which is I think the highest in the industry. Like Instagram influencers, they show big numbers and everything. But once I realized that it's all fake and they're not actually making money from the markets, that's when I saw the biggest growth, I think, in my trading. I do recommend going for a small live account at first, or just buying a prop firm challenge just to feel how it is to lose money.
What's your recommendation now? You've had a payout scam, you've had a challenge pass scam for somebody who wants to get to 6.1 million funded and want to do it as quickly as possible. All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Andrew in the house from NFX Trading. Welcome to the show, Andrew. I know you're 6.15 million funded currently, soon to go up by another 700K. Welcome to the show. How are things over there in Romania?
Thanks for having me. Things in Romania are quite slow now. Just the winter never ends. It's pretty cold right now, even if it's March. So yeah, we'll take a few weeks off Romania, go to Dubai, and then come back when it's a bit hotter.
Yeah, nice. Now, we're going to start off by finding out your trading story. So how you got into trading and the journey to 6 million in funding. I mean, how on earth did that happen?
Well, I find myself as a person that just works hard and doesn't really focus on results. So if you ask me how it happened, it just happened with daily work. First, when I got into trading, I was around 17. I discovered binary options, so IQ options, stuff like that, which have an expiration date, which turned out to be quite a scam. It was a very scammy thing back then. Then I discovered trading stocks, all of that through Umar Ashraf. I think everyone knows him. But I didn't really, I don't know, it didn't really spike my interest. So I kind of just went on and off. And then maybe 2 years later, I finally decided to go all in on trading, just discovered it again by Instagram marketing, the usual stuff, lifestyle, trading from the phone, the dream. And that's when it really spiked my interest, and I decided to pursue it. And I don't know, I got very passionate about it and wanted to see it work. And from there was just slow steps, losing accounts, losing money, blowing, starting over again. And at this point that I'm currently at 6.15 million, which is I think the highest in the industry. This was achieved in the last, I'd say, less than a year, once I really focused on building capital. Because before that, I was trading more personal capital and I was just having a few fund accounts. But yeah, that's when I kind of went all into prop firms.
Folks, if you're looking for a prop firm at the moment and you want someone who's been around for ages, flexible, reliable, and has low profit targets, then check out my sponsors, Blue Guardian. So these guys, I've been trading with them for the last 8 months. They've been sponsoring the show for about that amount of time, and they even have guys on my live stream trading them as well. So what I've found is their commission seems to be lower than some of the competitors out there. So really great trading environment, and they offer now C-Trader and some other fantastic trading platforms as well. If you want to check them out, there's a coupon code in the description, or just use it, Trading Nut, all one word, and get 10% off at checkout. There's a QR code you can grab here as well. All right, folks, let's get on with the show. Wow. And it sounds like you did go all in, because I mean, to get that within a year is kind of phenomenal. We'll go into that in a minute, but to start off, let's dive back. And I know you were a professional basketball player, and I just want to sort of find out how that sort of tied in with your trading journey. Were they interlinked at any point? And were able to leverage anything from that, like, I suppose, professional lifestyle that you had into what you were doing around, becoming a trader?
Yeah, I say this all the time. It had a huge impact on my life in general, not just trading, because if you're playing professional sports, whether it's soccer, football, or whatever, it doesn't matter, basketball, you need to have that discipline inside. You need to have that hard work mentality, not giving up, the winning mentality. You want to win every game. You want to beat your opponent. You want to beat yourself every day. So it helped me a lot because I played basketball for like 8 or 9 years. So having daily practices, having a very tight schedule, you need to go practice that hour, eat that thing, sleep at that time, every single day. It just kind of makes you that person every day. It just, I don't know, it forms you, right? And I think that had a big advantage for me when it comes to trading because I came with the discipline, right? With the consistency. So I just translated that into trading. I did the same thing every day for weeks, for months, for years, and I still do it every day. And it just helps me grow and I never give up. So yeah, definitely it helps a lot to come
Mm.
from a background like that compared to other guys who were just, I don't know, going to school and that's it, just spending time, wasting time. They don't have anything inside them, no discipline, nothing. So when they come into trading, they need to work on their discipline. But I
Mm.
already came with that.
Because
So
I
I
suppose just
skipped steps.
just on that, like thinking about somebody who might be, most people have, not going to be a professional athlete. They're probably going to be working a day job. The discipline, I mean, there will be some kind of elements of discipline that they need as, somebody working in an office or whatever it is. Like, i.e., you've got to be there at a certain time, you've got to do this job, that job, whatever it is, get it done. So you need to be disciplined to get it done. But I suppose there must be something else that comes with being that athlete that was like over and above, and maybe you don't know because you never did the day job thing. Um,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, over and above, like, what somebody who might go to work and, oh, I'll get the job done, but they spread it out across the course of the day and they're not disciplined about it, or they don't have to push themselves and manage themselves
Yeah.
versus, because I suppose
Yeah, exactly.
as an athlete, you're competing against the other people in the team as well as the other
Yeah,
teams. That could
but you're
be
also
it.
competing against yourself. So that's the
Ah,
huge difference, right? Because you're
ah,
competing with yourself to become better. But as you said, like working a job, you just you know your tasks, you know what you need to do, you just go there and do it, right? There's nothing else, there's nothing else to improve other than the actual job, right? But when it comes to sports or trading, there's a constant battle with yourself, with your emotions, right? With your not just the actual practice becoming better, I don't know, shooting or passing or whatever, but inside your mind, your psychology, how you go into your game, how you deal being down in a game, when the team just is better than you, how there's a lot of stuff. So there's a constant battle with yourself. Because I believe sports and trading have one similar thing, which is personal, how do you call it? I don't find the word. Like you have to perform by yourself, right? Which is not
yeah.
just the actual trading or the actual shooting. It's also the mind, how that
Mm.
performs and how that translates into your trading or your game, right? So it's very, very similar, I find.
Did you get any special sort of mindset training when you were an athlete? I mean, did they bring coaches in and stuff to help you with
Yeah.
psychology? I mean, what
Yeah, we
was there anything
had.
that
Yeah.
stuck with you from that was like, okay, well, this has really helped me, and I'm bringing that into my trading?
Not really. We had some psychology coaches, but they weren't that. I mean, it's Romania, so they weren't that high
Right. Okay.
professionals, right? But I think it's just the battle that you have with yourself. Every day you have to push harder and harder when you're tired. And I had countless moments when you're extremely tired, your legs are shaking, right? And you cannot do it, but you have to still do it. So those small battles that you win build up to the guy who you become, right?
Yeah. So sort of like that Navy SEALs kind of mentality in terms of like pushing past that pain barrier at points, and whether or not, it's like I've tested this 100 times. Well, I'm going to do 100 more trades and see if it works,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So let's go back into the actual, charting that you were doing. I mean, when did you start to see things improve?
When it comes to trading,
Yeah.
things started to improve and to actually become profitable was once I stopped looking at the other people that I was maybe looking up to. So like Instagram influencers, they show big numbers and everything. But once I realized that it's all fake and they're not actually making money from the markets, and I decided to focus just on understanding the charts and the few pairs that I want to trade and try to make something work. That's when I saw the biggest growth, I think, in my trading because I just focused every day on the same thing, trying to understand the charts. I wasn't looking left or right. And yeah, once results start coming in, they come in very fast, and then it's just continuing what you do.
And so what kind of education did you sort of end up stumbling into to give you the knowledge that you have?
So that's the thing. The knowledge that I have was self-obtained, right?
Right.
I did study courses, let's say, but most of them were just basic, how courses are, just reused information, nothing really new. And once I kind of stopped looking left and right, I didn't really watch any more education, just watching the charts and watching what other successful traders do,
So you sort of had
actual
that.
traders.
So yeah, so I suppose you had that sort of foundation of like, okay, here's a chart. I know all the sort of elements I need to just put a system together that I can execute on a regular basis. I mean, what was? Can you talk us through the time when you were like, you found something, you discovered the edge, and you were able to test it successfully, and how you sort of went through that process? Because I've been there before, where I'll go and find something and go, oh, geez, that looks like it works. I've tested 5 trades, and wow, it looks awesome, and then I'll go back and back test it. And like, that's when I usually get nervous and go, well, what if it doesn't work and I just waste all this time? Because I've come up
Yeah.
with it. Someone hasn't taught me. How did you get through that barrier? And like, how many times did you stumble and fall at that hurdle?
I think no, a lot of times, because first was support resistance, you see it work and then it stops working. Then I discovered like Fibonacci retracements, and I was just trading that. Again, the first few trades that I backtest, they work incredibly well, but then once you try to actually trade, it doesn't work. Then I discovered the lower time frames, scalping, super resistance, but on the lower time frames, big risk rewards. And then I think the breakthrough I was once I discovered that there is stuff uh, over the Fibonacci support resistance, or what it's called, like retail concepts, right? I discovered those because I was talking with some other traders that I kind of knew they were successful. So I kind of integrated myself with them, and then I started live trading with them. So that's when I discovered the other side of trading, let's call it, right? Liquidity, sweeps, the times that needs to be traded, the daily time frame, higher time frame narrative, and all of that. Like, just the whole other world of trading, the smarter way, let's call it. I don't want to call it smart money trading because I don't believe that's really a thing. You can call it whatever you want. But the most important thing I discovered was liquidity and how liquidity works, and especially how sessions work, right? And from there, I just kind of spent time on the charts, and I discovered, the imbalances, the daily highs and lows, the breaks of structure, of changes of character, how they're called, all these other stuff that once I started to mark them up on the charts. Later on, when I went into the whole social media thing, is when I discovered, like, oh, this has a name, right? I didn't have a name for it. I was just like,
Right.
this
Okay.
area that is just buy positions. I know that's gonna get filled, and later on I discovered, oh, that's called an imbalance, or a FVJ, or fair value gap, or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
that's when I kind of discovered that the whole trading space is just dumb because they focus so much on terms rather than just understanding the market. So yeah, it was a complicated journey. That's why it took me so long to actually make a lot of money. But I had the advantage that I discovered it mostly myself and created my own systems to trade.
And so the I suppose that first system that you found, which was working, I mean, can you talk us through like what gave you the confidence in it? Was there sort of like a certain number of back tests that you did, or something else?
So I never had a system. I never had a rules system or a trading system. Neither I have now. I don't think I have a system now. I just have certain plays that I look for. Let's call them that. But the first thing that I started trading was gold. Back in 2000, I think was 2019, uh, pre-COVID. So just before COVID. And I kind of just understood how gold moves. I just watch it every day for like weeks, and I saw certain patterns that it moves. London Open, it moves a certain way, takes always takes liquidity. Then New York Stock Exchange Open, that's when it gives a move. So just observing the patterns that it has every single day, and I try to slowly catch them and build like a knowledge base or what happens. But I just did that inside my mind because I have a very good visual memory. So even now, I recognize every pattern that I see. So yeah, I didn't really have a system. I just started scalping. I was like, all right, gold took liquidity. Now it should reverse for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 pips. And I was just entering and kind of worked very, very good until COVID came.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below. Because that's kind of like, I mean, it's one of these things. I don't know. I'm just going on my experience here and what I sort of know from others is that kind of thing. I mean, scalping is probably okay, but was there like I don't know, did you have sort of a risk to reward kind of approach at that stage, or was it literally like, oh, I'll just hit buy and then I'll probably exit at this point here because it's likely to
Yeah.
reject there? And like,
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't even caring. I didn't really care about this, the risk to reward. It was literally, I'm just going to take some money here. How did it
Yeah, I
look?
didn't care about any of that. I
Right.
just didn't care. I just care about I want to enter here. I have my stop loss where it invalidates the idea and I will take profit at the area that I see it has a rejection or it will have a rejection and then keep holding. So I wasn't really looking at targets. And the win rate was quite high, and that's actually when I started to build an online presence here in Romania, because I started sharing those gold trades, and it kind of blew me up because I had such a high win rate and sharing ideas. I still have stories from my Instagram from back then, just sharing the sell limits, the buy limits, which hit perfectly targets. So it was just understanding how the pair moves. But yeah, as I said, that kind of stopped once COVID came. I just became too unpredictable for me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you evolve during that COVID period of time so that you know you could survive and thrive now?
So yeah, that's when I kind of, because I had another business going on, an e-commerce business here in Romania. So I kind of did them at the same time, and that also died when COVID came. So it just completely, I had to shut it down. So that was one of the toughest time in my life, because I didn't really have money coming in from anywhere, because I kind of lost my edge, as I said, with gold. Um, but I kept studying. I kept trying for weeks, for months, a whole day, and I kind of started understanding it again, let's call it like that, on gold. So I started trading gold again, and I started making money. And then I discovered FTMO, got funded with them, had some payouts, and then I think the next big one was funding talent, but that was, I think, a year after. Can't even remember when. And funding talent was also a big one for me. Thousand, just one payout, but in 1 month, I think I made 60 something $1,000 from a few payouts, just trading gold. So that was the big boost in capital that I had, because I obtained the max capital. I think it was 300K or something like that.
Actually, do you want to just repeat that sort of funding
Oh,
from
wait.
FTMO because the internet sort of got really shaky there. Um,
Okay, so yeah, I said that when kind of COVID came, I started to I got humbled, let's call it that, and I started studying the charts again, understanding how gold moves again, remade my whole trading strategy, my trading style, and I started making profits again. And that's when I discovered FTMO, and I kind of went for it, got funded, made a few payouts, and then funding talent came in. I think that was like the third or fourth platform to open next to my Forex funds. And with funding talent, I actually reached max funding, and that's when I had my biggest month in trading, which was around 60 something $1,000 and 45K in one single payout. So that
wow.
was a huge milestone hit for me. Trading just gold, as I said, that was everything I was trading. And yeah, that kind of opened the gates more towards trading. That's when I kind of went harder at it, because it's just not the money, just I kind of enjoyed being right and making profits, right? It
Mm.
wasn't about the money. That didn't really move me. It's crazy, but yeah.
So the difference between what you were doing before COVID and then after COVID, I mean, how dramatically different did the system or strategy approach or the plays that you had then change after COVID?
Now that I discussed about it, I don't think it was strictly about the trading style. I think it was more about psychology, to be honest.
Mm, okay.
Because yeah, I think that was the thing that kind of hurt my trading, let's call it that, because I didn't really focus on psychology in trading at all. I was just, just trading and that's it. Losing, getting mad, winning, getting happy and all of that. And that's kind of when I started to focus more on my psychology. So I think that was a big thing, just patience. Patience, I think, was the big thing, but not trading style. I still trade the same, so it's nothing different.
Right. Okay. So it
Yeah,
looked like it was broken, but when in all reality it was
yeah,
the mindset that wasn't quite there. And I suppose it must have been quite difficult, even trading through that COVID period of time where, like, I mean, things just started to move massively, right? So instead of
yeah,
if you had, let's just call it a 5 pip stop, it could have become a 25 or even a 50 pip stop because I would just, the liquidity was so huge.
yeah.
Um, so it could have screwed with your mind a little bit there. Now, so you went on there to then grow your whole portfolio to over 6 million. I mean, what was sort of like the genesis behind that, and how did you sort of go, right? I'm gonna go for this funding thing instead of trade personal capital.
So yeah, funding talent. As I said, I was training with them, and then they shut down. I think everyone remembers when they basically exit scammed. I still had some payouts left. I think I had like 20K left to be paid out, which I didn't. So that's when I lost it, and I took a break for like a few months from trading for one, I think 2 months, something like that. It was during summer, still remember. Just kind of trying to enjoy some life because I've been stuck in the home, and everything. And yeah, that's when I slowly started trading personal capital again for I think a year or something like that. Started making money from just IC markets account. That's it, trading bigger lots and bigger lots. Also still gold. Um, and I took some big hits on gold. I think it was the can't remember if it was the Russia war or no, something be before that. Can't even remember. Or was it the war? When did that break through? Because I
Oh,
can't
it was about
remember.
3 years ago, two
2022.
2 years ago now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when I took a big hit. I can't remember it right, but I knew that gold was gonna go long because the rumors were kind of started to hit in, that the war is gonna break, and I knew that gold was gonna skyrocket back to the 2000s. I think it was around 1900s, and I started to stack buy positions, no stop loss. And yeah, I kept stacking positions, and I remember for like it was night for like a few hours. I didn't watch the charts, and then when I watched the charts, I saw that I hit one of my levels, like the last level, that I had marked to go long, and I just didn't have time to go through my IC markets and transfer funds, and I got margin called, and all the positions got closed, and it was literally just a week,
Oh,
and then it reversed and it started
oh,
pushing very hard. It was one night, yeah, when the war got announced. So I got stopped up for like 20, 30 pips, and I lost, I think, 50 or $60,000 in just one night.
jeez,
And yeah, that
jeez.
was that was annoying, right? Because I didn't have time to
Yeah.
add more balance in. Yeah, so that was a big hit, and that's when I took a break for like again 1 or 2 months from trading and kind of wanted to go back into prop firms. And that's when I saw my forex funds was really big. I think the fund in trader also launched, so I kind of went for my forex funds. I think I got max funded within like a month and a half. True Forex Fund was also back then, so I went max money with them, and I kind of just traded, I think around 600, 700, 800K in capital, so not that much, right? And I traded that until last year when I kind of, wanted to go all in, just see how much capital I can gain. Because there was a shift in my mindset where I was like, all right, I'm making this money from like a 600K account. Let's say, I don't know, I make 20, 30, 40K a month, whatever, from trading the prop firms. But I saw that I kept trying to make more, and that kept backfiring against me, right? Because when you have 600K, if you want to make, I don't know, 60K, you need to make 10%, which is very hard to make in a month. So I kind of went back and forth blowing the account, getting it back, having a payout. So I didn't like the whole I have an account now I don't have. So that's when I kind of had the shift in mindset. I was like, let me go for higher capital and lower my returns every month to something that I can obtain very easily, like 1% or 2%. So that's when I started to build slowly. So I started with like 400K, 500K in capital, secured some payouts, and then I started investing those payouts back into challenges. And I did that for like 3 months and kind of went very well, I guess.
Cool. And so like I suppose I heard that you got banned a few times in a lot of the podcasts that I've sort of seen the
Yeah.
titles of that you've been. How did that? What happened there? I mean, why did you get banned? And was it because you were like breaking rules, or just they didn't like the way you
Yeah,
traded?
I never broke any rules. The main thing that I get banned for was so at first I went for the highest rated, most popular prop firms until like $4 or $5 million. And that's when I kind of tried other prop firms that weren't that popular just to increase my capital. So that's when the problems came in, right? Because the way I traded the challenge, and that's how I kind of started this trend of risking the whole daily drawdown on your challenge to just pass it right as fast as possible. So my idea was I want to have my full focus on my funded accounts to make that 1-2% every single payout cycle. So every 2 weeks or every month, doesn't matter. And I want to just reinvest the profits into challenges and gain the capital as fast as possible. So that's why I risked 4.5% phase one, try to go for a 1-2, pass the phase one, and then phase two, a 1-1. So I just needed 2 wins in a row or 3 wins maximum, which was obtainable. Uh, and that's where a lot of problems, I guess, didn't like because maybe I lose, let's say, 4 challenges, right, on a certain problem, and then I get funded the next ones. What they will do was just call me a risk trader and then refund me the accounts that ended up in the funded phase, but keep the fees for the accounts that I lost at first, right?
Jeez.
Which is basically a scam. So that's happened a few times, and yeah, I got a few law threats, lawsuit threats, and all of that, which is crazy. And recently, I also got my first payout scam. I did a video on that, which kind of blew up. And yeah, now recently I got banned on, I don't want to say it, on a big platform, but trying to solve that to see what happened. But yeah, that's the thing. And that's the thing that I don't like about platforms, right? Because they can just throw any reason at you and say you're a risk to the company when you're obviously not. You're just making money.
So what's your recommendation now that you've gone through all this pain? You've had a payout scam, you've had a challenge pass scam. I mean, what's your recommended approach for somebody who wants to get to 6.1 million funded and they, want to do it as quickly as possible, but obviously trying to avoid that scenario that you've just talked about?
Well, first of all, I knew the risks when I started doing this, so I knew the risk of because I understood how prop firms operate. They operate based on failed fees, most of them, and they just pay from the failed fees. So I kind of understood the system. So I had low expectations coming in. If I was to get banned, whatever. If I got a payout denial, whatever. But what I would recommend is just stick to the top highest rated prop firms that have a history behind of paying traders, not denying anything, which is quite easy to just go to like $3 million in funding. It's not that hard. And then from there, I guess just take it slower with challenges. Don't just go full risk on. Maybe use 2-3% risk to pass them. And also keep the payouts maybe under 2% or 3%. and you should be completely fine. That's what I'm doing now. I just go for 2% payouts, maybe even less, and on the platforms that I actually know I had no problems and I have a history with, that's when I maybe go for a higher return, just try to make more.
And in
Yeah.
terms of like the actual technical placing of trades and distributing trades across firms, I mean, how do you go about doing that?
So I had when MetaTrader was a thing, but now I guess we have to
Yeah, well, I
switch
was going
things
to ask.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had just a trade copier. I was using Traders Connect. I also use social trader tools, and I had the main, let's call it portfolio. I had around 4 million, 4.5 million, most of it just connected to a main account at IC Markets, just uh, copying the good setups, one setup a week, maybe two setups, aiming for that payout. And then I had some other accounts that I was just trading individually, maybe scalping every day or trying to hit bigger payouts, and yeah, just trading them every day. So that's how I split them.
okay, right. And what are you doing now with the whole MetaTrader? I suppose freeze out.
Yeah, I kind of took it slower. I was lucky enough to have lots. I mean, most of my accounts had payout spending, so I made profits before the whole MetaTrader thing happened. So I kind of, chilled back, waited for everything to go away, get my payouts. All most payouts were delayed, but yeah, now I guess I will just have to trade them one by one, or just try to place the trades at the same time. You just have to go around things, right? But hopefully we'll see some, I don't know, all the platforms to use one kind of platform, and then we can hopefully see a trade copier for that. Otherwise, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to
Yeah,
just
yeah. There
go
seems to be
through all of them.
a few firms have either added like the DX Trade or C
Yeah.
Trader to their platform, or I mean, I'm definitely using a copy trading bit of software from the MetaTrader store, which you can actually just copy across the DX Trade, which seems to be working okay. And it's kind of
Okay.
inexpensive. So there's a few solutions out there, albeit not ideal. So you can still keep, as long as you can get yourself that demo of MetaTrader, that's all you need. You should be good to go.
Yeah.
Now, let's dive into like some of the stats around your trading. So, like, what is your across the course of a week, say, for example, I mean, how many trades are you going to take?
So in terms of stats, I do use TradeZilla to, obviously, until I couldn't with MetaTrader, but my usual stats for every month was my average risk reward overall was 1 to 2, or 1 to 1.8, 1.9, so under 2R, and my win rate was somewhere around 55%, maybe 60% in a good month. So the stats were all right, I guess, just having the nice edge in my trading. But weekly, I guess now I'm becoming very, very patient with my trading, because I don't want to lose any of the capital that I have. Just don't want to go through the challenge phase again. So now I usually just take maybe one setup or two setups. Uh, I have one setup, and maybe I take two or three trades on that setup, and I now trade just Euro USD, GBP USD, and sometimes gold. And I usually take those trades on Wednesday to Friday. And then I have as I said, the other accounts that I maybe trade Monday, Tuesday, just take a quick trade. But the main trading is just one or two setups a week, maybe not one. Depends on how the market moves.
And what does your typical trading day look like then?
Well, I enjoy looking at the chart, seeing what happens. My usual trading day is just so my time in Romania, it's 10 a.m. is London Open. So I usually come on the charts 1 hour before, and I kind of see London Open and then wait for the 4 hour and 12 hour candle close, which is at 12 p.m. So I kind of do some work until that happens, and then I usually just analyze based on the 4 hour close, see what the direction is gonna be, and then I come back. So 4 p.m. usually is New York Open. So I come maybe 30 minutes before, and I kind of watch it for like 2 hours, try to catch a trade inside New York session. and that's my usual trading days. Obviously, when we have news, I stay and watch the news also.
And what about like Monday and Tuesday? Would you still do that routine on a non-trading day, i.e., you're not going to take those
Yeah,
trades?
I do the routine every day. That's the thing, because I can't find some quick trades, but I just know that if I'm gonna take a trade Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's not gonna be the highest probability trade. It's not gonna give me that risky reward that I want. So I'm just in and out usually on the markets, try to make some profits.
Now, you had quite a unique start to your trading career, i.e., you're a professional athlete and you had that discipline instilled. With that in mind, and like seeing other people out there who are looking to get into trading or try and make it work, I mean, what would be some steps that you'd recommend they take to get there? I suppose pass their first challenge slash get funded, or even just grow an account.
So the steps are quite simple, to be honest. Step number one is just to remove everything. Just don't watch any social media, don't watch any other traders. I guess step two will be just focus on your psychology and mindset. So either, I don't know, get someone that knows about that or join someone that went through that. Just try to identify and know yourself. I think that's the most important thing. Just know what kind of person you are and what trading style is gonna fit you. Because some traders are scalpers, some traders are more comfortable being in swing trading. You just need to find what works best for you. But in order to do that, you need to understand yourself. And try to study psychology, read books, understand how we work as humans, how our mind works, how we instill habits, how we change bad habits, and all of that. You need to study that before actually understanding training. And then it's just either find a mentor and a community, a course, whatever, or there is a lot of free information on YouTube. Go do that, study everything, and then you need to also understand when you can trade and what pairs you can trade. So depending on your schedule, see when you can trade. Maybe you can trade New York, maybe you can trade London. See what pairs move during that time. Focus on one single pair during that time that you're gonna trade. So let's take New York, for example. 2 hours of New York, watch, I don't know, GBP USD or Euro USD or gold or whatever pair you want, and start watching it every day to see how it moves, why it moves, and then start building data based on what you see. And I think that's about it. And then you go through I do recommend going for like a small live account at first, or just buying a prop from challenge just to feel how it is to lose money. I know it sounds bad, but you need to go through That's another thing that I knew when I started. I knew that I'm gonna lose money at first, so I didn't go with huge money, right? Just took it slow because I knew I'm gonna go through losses. So just start with something that you can afford to lose, either a live account or just, I don't know, a small challenge account. Trade that, lose some, make some, see how you feel, analyze how you feel, to see if it makes you feel bad that you lose, then you go through the whole process and then just start building your prop firm capital. I think that's the best way to go this year. Obviously, yeah, I think this year is still going to be a good year for prop firms. So start building your capital. Don't go for one big account, go for multiple small accounts. Try to pass as much as you can. Find your edge. I mean, you should have your edge already to make that 1, 2% a month and use that on your funding accounts and just focus on building capital.
It's interesting you say there 1 to 2% a month. It's you're not going for massive amounts. You're just
No.
leveraging that capital, which I suppose is very different from like 10, 15 years ago where it was all about having to
Yeah.
get these massive returns. Now, what about like a mind from a mindset point of view? I mean, like it sounds like even though you had a good mindset to start off with, it wasn't necessarily the be all and end all. You still had issues along the way. I mean, did you find there to be any mindset kind of hacks or things that you do to get you ready for the trading week so that you do remind yourself of how you need to be thinking or the way you need to be thinking? Or was there something else that helped you get to the space where you are now, where you don't really care that much about the money and it's very much, the process oriented trader?
Yeah, there's all those things combined. For me, as I said, I read like 20 psychology books, so I know everything about how the mind works, how we can control ourselves. So that was that. Obviously, once you start making some money, you need to get detached to it. So money has no value. I don't really care about that. I just care about performing and being the best and having the good setups. I don't really look at money uh, now, just maybe at the end of the month, just look at my payouts. Just focus on the process and yeah, just keep trying to don't do try to learn from your mistakes. So if you overtrade, that's the biggest issues, right? You overtrade, you over risk. Try to find the reasons behind those, why you do that, and then try to work on that specific reason. So maybe for over leveraging, there may be the need to make money. That's usually the main one. So try to switch your mentality around that you're not gonna use trading as a way to make that money that you need. You need to make that money somewhere else and build yourself as a trader after. So it's a lot of things combined. It's very hard to tell just one thing. It's just overall work from every angle. Meditating, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I found that if you just try and tackle each thing, is you got first thing is to try and identify it, and then what the
Yeah.
problem is, and then once you've done that, you go, okay, well, I know that's the problem, or whatever it is. For example, I can't stay in the trade, get out too early. Then the second thing is come up with a solution for it. So the
No, the second thing is finding the reason behind that and then looking for a solution for that. So
okay,
people when they do a mistake or they keep doing the same thing, such as overtrading, they just look at it as a problem. Like I'm overtrading, how can I stop that? They're not looking more behind that. So there are reasons behind
yeah,
that, for overtrading. There are reasons behind that that make you overtrade. So that's where you need to work when it first starts. It's like a chain reaction.
yeah.
So people need to find point one where it all started and work on that. And it usually comes from inside, from an inside, I don't know, pain or something. And that's where, because once the chain reaction starts, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's harder to work on it. But if you identify the point A, that's the easiest thing to change and learn from.
So that I mean,
That's a big
and
thing.
if you had to sort of like, I know you probably semi touched on it earlier, but like something because I think that's the most difficult thing is like going, okay, well, this is the problem. What's the reason for the problem? How do you come up with what would be a nice place for somebody to start working out like the reason for the problem from a mind? It's obviously in their mind somewhere, but they can't see it. How would you where would you direct somebody?
We just go, I don't know, just more steps backwards. Let's call it that. Just go backwards from the problem and then analyze yourself. And it usually starts from the emotions that you feel. Right? It usually starts from something that you need in life, and it's usually money, to be honest. Usually money or stress. That's the main issues that happen. So for every person is different. It's very hard, even now, because I do mentor some people and try to teach them. It's very hard to teach them psychology aspect. Yeah, you can give tips. You can say this is how I went over that issue, but unless that person actually does the work and understand themselves, like what kind of person they are. For me, I studied myself for a long time and I understood that I'm very and a very and very impatient person, and I tend to not think, and I just throw myself at it, right? Not really thinking about it. So that was a big issue for me in trading because I sometimes started to over leverage or just get stuck with my bias because I need to be right and I need to win that trade. So that's a constant battle with myself, but I understood that it's just because of myself. And the reasons behind that are actually because that's how I am as a person. I just want to win everything, right? But I understand slowly that that's not the case and it's fine to lose, and I just need the losses to happen. I just need to don't care about them, just let them happen and then focus on the next step, right?
Mm, mm. And I think a lot of people are probably in that same mindset of like, I need to win everything. You come into
Yeah.
trading, you want to win, but to flip that around and be happy with the losses is that's the challenge. Now, what about a price chart? Three things on a price chart you would recommend somebody go away and study. What would they be?
On the charts, I think It's the sessions. So you have, Asia session, London session, New York session. Just study those time frames when those sessions open. Study those times. I think the next thing is the higher time frames. So 4 hour daily, weekly, that just gives the direction. If you can anticipate where it's gonna move, then you can start forming a bias. And I think the third thing is just where liquidity is in the market, because obviously for the market to move up, it needs to take liquidity from the downside. It's very just basic understanding. So that's the three things that will help you become profitable.
Brilliant. And if somebody had to spend like 1 month mastering something, what would it be?
In terms of trading,
Yeah.
or what? Just one pair. Just master one pair. That's more than enough to make money. You can trade one pair your whole life and make money. It's that easy. So just master that
That's
100%.
great advice. And it's probably one of the things that like a lot of newbie traders struggle with is just
Yeah.
which pair and how to distill it down. I mean, if you had to say, oh, so no, I'm not even gonna ask that question because I know you're gonna say gold. I was gonna say which pair would they
Ah,
trade?
no, no, I wouldn't say gold. I don't trade gold now anymore. I just trade Euro USD and GBP USD. So I
Okay.
would just find one pair that you enjoy and you see, you kind of understand, and has usually is a major pair. I see people trading exotics pairs, or even indices are very good, like US 30 and all of that. Something that is very easy to analyze, both fundamental and both technical.
Mm.
So that's why I like Euro USD, GBP USD, because they're very tied to the dollar economy, which usually move, very well together. So it's just easier for me to do my analysis. It takes me 10 minutes maybe to just find the direction. So that's why I
Yeah.
do it.
And are you entering on quite low time frames?
That's a question I get a lot. People ask, what time frames do you enter on? And I find that very stupid, to be honest, because the time frame you enter on, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, right? You have your invalidation point and then you have your targets. So you just enter when the time comes. So maybe New York Open, just that's when you enter. So I don't look at the time frames. I try to find if I want to go long, I try to find the lowest point of entry to have the best risk
Okay.
reward. So I don't really look at the time frames, no.
Okay. So my next question to that was, are you still using limit orders to get in?
Yeah, I do sometimes use limit orders, but I usually just have them in place just in case price comes in. But I usually just market execute.
Okay. Okay.
Usually, no.
And we're going to jump into a quick fire round here now. So, what about like how long did it actually take you to go from newbie to consistently profitable?
I say the whole period, it's like 4 years, maybe. Yeah, 3, 4 years, a long way.
Uh, what's your favorite entry setup?
My favorite entry setup is, I guess, when price comes into a hard time frame, liquidity or imbalance, and just, comes during New York session, just wicks it, you enter, and then you have the higher time frames targets. I think that's the best entry. I don't know.
What
Yeah.
about your strategies to exit or manage trades?
Um, so the trade management rules, those are usually now what I use on my main portfolio is just very simple, which is at 1 to 1, I go break even. And usually I have 1 to 2 as a full take profit or 80% off if I have a higher time frame target. But I sometimes if I enter a trade, let's say Tuesday or Wednesday, if it happens and I don't have or even Thursday and I don't have my higher time frame targets, maybe I will just close at the 1 to 1. So I keep it simple now. 1 to 1, 1 to 2 is more than enough. Yeah.
Do you have a recommended trading book or resource?
Yeah, you can read Trading Beyond the Matrix. That's a very good book. And also, I do recommend Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's a very book on psychology.
Yeah, I've read that myself. It's a good one. If you could leave
More.
our listeners with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Just focus on discipline and consistency. I feel like if I say this at every podcast and interview, people are actually going to listen. So yeah, discipline and consistency. Don't focus on the process. Focus on the inputs that you do every day. So whether it's self-development or trading, doing the same thing every day, and don't focus on the outputs, the money or the success or whatever. Just focus on doing the work every day with discipline, with consistency, and don't focus on the results. Just let them come when they come. When you're ready, they will come. Yeah.
And by the sounds of it in this interview, it sort of came across as that was your sort of special power, was just going, I'm just going to focus on that and ignore everything else, which I think is a big challenge to overcome for a lot of people. Now, before we wrap up, what's the best way for traders to get hold of you?
They can just watch I'm building my YouTube brand now. So Andrew NFX on YouTube, Andrew NFX on Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying to build a social media presence, just throwing the facts of real trading. So people find my YouTube content very useful, especially exposing the prop from scams that are happening. Those are big. So yeah, that's where they can find me.
Brilliant. Well, look, a big thank you to Andrew for sharing with us today. Everything we've discussed here will be in the show notes. To find them, simply click the link under the video or in the podcast description, or head over to there to tradingnut.com and type in Andrew in the search box. Until next time, wish all my listeners trading happiness and success.